Where should I put my TSP? I'm going to read you an article from my man Chris Barfield, who I've just recently come to know through LinkedIn, as a matter of fact. Through my YouTube channel, he found me, and then he reached out to me on LinkedIn. And he's got a wonderful, wonderful website, a plethora of just incredible information that you should sign up for. And so this is his most recent email to me, or not to me, but to his newsletter. And you can get his newsletter here at just tons of barfieldfinancial.com. He's a CPA. He's just tons of stuff. Let's read about Chris. I'm a huge fan of this guy. Let's see. He has a BS and MS degree in accounting, as well as an active CPA license in Indiana. He is currently assigned to the U.S. Attorney's Office as a forensic accountant. He has over 2 decades of federal law enforcement experience with the DOJ and has received numerous awards, including the Attorney General's Award for Distinguished Service. I'm such a huge fan of Chris and the stuff he's doing here. Just freaking awesome. I mean, there's so much stuff. And so subscribe to his newsletter right here, right there. I'm telling you, you got to do it. You'd be crazy if you didn't, because there's it's, for TSP members, federal employees and whatnot. But it's more than that. I cannot get over how much stuff this guy has on here. And thankfully, he said, actually, he writes here, due to overwhelming demand, I'm not taking on any more tax clients for 2020, tax year 2019. Yeah, because tax people are few and far between. So my friends, if you are interested in doing tax planning, I'm telling you, the situation is ripe for you. I got a guy just the other day. Well, let me make sure someone's not taking a poop. I got a guy the other day who asked me who he should go see. And, my wife works for a CPA firm, but this guy's tax stuff, and I don't want to say simple like he doesn't have money or anything, but in terms of just, 1099s, distributions, whatnot, pretty easy. There's no business, no S corporation. Just it's pretty simple stuff. So you have this pretty expensive people, and then who else do you do it? I don't know. There's not that many people out there. And, Charlotte used to work for H&R Block for a year, and, some of the H&R Block folks are pretty good. But who do you know is going to be good? I don't know. And that's a tough one. There is a huge opportunity for folks who want to do, small to mid-level tax planning. Hold on just a second. It seems like someone, okay. And I think if you want to go in this opportunity, there's huge. You can make tons of money being a tax preparer. All right, hold on just a second. He's getting this on back. All right, so let's go back into this. So sign up for Chris's stuff here at barfieldfinancial.com. Link will be in the show notes. So 30 times in 2 weeks. That's how often I've received the question of what should I do with my TSP. Hey, Chris, I just have a quick question. I get that all the time. Just a quick question about my TSP. I'm 10 years, 10 months, 10 minutes from retiring and was wondering how I should allocate it. What should I do? Thanks. Just a quick question. Frankly, I just can't keep up with all the answers individually, so I'm going to throw my thoughts out there to all of you through one email for efficiency's sake. Could not agree more. I get that too all the time. Just got a quick question. First, so I'm assuming this new interest in a TSP strategy has to do with many receiving their account statements for tax purposes around this time of year. Some of you have seen your investments skyrocket over the last 10 years. Others have been sitting on the sidelines trying to screw up the nerve to jump in. So I get it, but here are my thoughts. You cannot go back in 2009. You can't. It's impossible to make up what you missed out on. Stop it. Trying to will just bring frustration and anxiety. That is 100% correct. This isn't Vegas where you can make a big hit to cover your losses. Real investing isn't like that. There's a difference between gambling in the market and investing in the market. I completely agree. All right. Notice, I did not say today and the day you retire. I say today and the day you pull your money out. That second day may be near retirement or maybe years later. But that is your timeline. Sit down and put some thought exactly into what your timeline is. If that timeline is long-term, say more than 5 years, good boy, Pablo, you probably need to consider having the majority of your investments in the market, which for me means a C and S fund. I personally can't recommend the I fund. I think it stinks. Majority means that more than 50%. And so the C is the S&P 500 index, the S is the Russell 2000 index, and the I is the international. I don't know if they index it on the international for the TSP. It's international stocks. I know that. I'm just not sure if it's an indexed or not. I just don't know. If your timeline is really long-term, like you're in your 20s and 30s, you should consider putting everything into the C and S fund. Your timeline may be such as 60 years. If your timeline is around 5 years or less, you probably need to dial back. A standard rule of thumb, long advocated by a lot of financial planners, has been somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70% in the market, 30 to 40% in bonds. That may mean something like 60% in the C fund and 40% in the G, or he gives you a list of other things. Risk tolerance. Some of you are 40 years old and 100% in the G fund because you're scared of what happened in 2008. You are starting to consider getting in the market after so many years of missed gains. My word of advice is not to stay out of the market. My word of advice is to buckle up and buy some assets. The stock market is a volatile place. It has crashed. It will crash again. And you're buying in at an all-time high. But will it be higher 10 to 20 years from now? That's how I invest. If you can get to the point where you say my TSP lost 30% last year, but that just means I'll be buying more of my money every month. In the long run, when it goes back up, my balance will be even higher. Then you should consider yourself a long-term investor. Congrats, you are on your way to building wealth in a sensible, systematic fashion. I've trained myself not to panic during crashes. It's a natural part of the process. Financial resets have been around for a long time, as long as finances have been around. And once you accept the fact and become a long-term investor, you quell some of the emotions that prevent you from making money, like getting out in 2008. Since I'm a long-term investor, let me list some of the things I don't care about from an investing standpoint. The next election, coronavirus, the price of the stock market right now, the price of the stock market next month. He just goes over this, your telephone calls to Ukraine, another possible war and wherever stand, Corporation X go bankrupt. Man, this is insanely good writing. I wish I could write as good as Chris. This is insanely good writing. I got to read that again. Since I'm a long-term investor, let me just list some of the things I don't care about from an investing standpoint. And he lists them here. The next election, coronavirus, the price of the market today, the price of the market next month, the price of the market next year, telephone calls to Ukraine, another possible war in wherever stand, and Corporation X going bankrupt. I buy the market month in and month out and have been doing so for over 25 years. Hopefully I'll be doing the same thing over the next 25. There have been still some crashes, but I've averaged 8% a year over that time, which means he's doubled his money every 9 years. How do we know that? Because we do the rule of 72. We take 72, divide by his rate of return, and whatever that number is, that's how much it took to double your money every 9 years. If you cannot get over an unnatural aversion to risk, you'll have to be very conservative. If you don't, you'll just get an ulcer. Money shouldn't keep you up at night. However, just accept the fact that you'll never see a 31% increase like we did in 2019. You have 100% security and you can't have 100% security and big gains. Don't believe anyone who tells you that, especially annuity people. Undoubtedly, even after his email, some of you will write and ask where I think you should put your TSP. I don't know without sitting down with you to discuss your entire financial picture. It'd be impossible for me to tell you, but I will offer some of my rules to consider. In my 20s, 30s, and most of my 40s, I was 100% in the market. That includes significant crashes in 2000 and 2008. My only regret was not contributing more. I don't like the I fund, so that eliminates the L funds. It has performed horribly when you consider how volatile it is. I prefer the large caps to small caps. The returns are good enough, and large companies are not as volatile and unstable, in my opinion. I'm going to do another video here shortly about I cannot agree this more. I can share another video how I do. Well, we'll just get into that here in just a second. I want purchasing power over the long run, which means I stay mostly in the market. C fund 70%. I have a portion of my TSP that I do not want to ever lose in the G fund, the only guaranteed one. I could not agree this more. The F fund is a good companion to the G fund for the bond side. I've stayed away from it personally because I think interest rates will rise at some point. In the next few years, that will theoretically be bad for the F fund. I've missed out on gains, but I'm fine with that because he has the C fund to offset that. I could not agree more. Forget the F, forget the I. I would actually even say forget the C, just go to C and G. 100% agree. When the market crashes, I buy more. I don't sell. Getting out of the market at the bottom will ensure you never have a nest egg. I know no more than anyone else, and the CNBC financial experts know more about you than you about where the market will be. I completely agree. In the meantime, keep feeding the TSP. All right, I cannot agree more with that, my friends. I'm going to read more of his stuff as we go forward because I have a ongoing email relationship with Chris, and I freaking love it. I love what he writes. I love everything he does in this regard. You need to sign up for his website. And I could not agree more. I was stunned how much I agree with old Chris here. For me, here's what if it's just me, the guy who loves fossil fuels, by the way, I would do my benchmark would be 70% the C and 30% the G. That's what I start with. Do I want to get more risky? Then go 80, 90, 100% C. Do I want to get less risky? Then go 30, 40, 50% the G. However you want to do it. But I would start with a premise that 70% the C and 30% the G. I don't care how old you are. I just don't care. You have to look at your own unique situation. If you're 25, you're like, I know it's easy for those who are 25 to say I need to be all C fund, but I'm telling you, if you got debt, you got student loans to pay off, you got cars, you got kids, you got braces, it's tough to watch what you have. This net worth just collapsed, 40, 54%. Like it did in 2007 October to March 9th of 2009. I'm telling you, man, when you're that young and you got all these bills and obligations for family and debt and whatnot, to watch your nest egg, but you can't touch it. Yeah, but you might quit your crappy old job and go do something else. That's still, I'm telling you, man, what if you got laid off? You need to put some money away, and that would be the barbell. So you essentially say, look, this is the starting point. You need to figure out what you want to do instead. I want 70% in the C and 30% in the G. Now, like that. The G fund, guaranteed. You know you'll never lose money there. You're never going to make much, but you're not going to get killed. You're not going to make a killing. Here, you could get killed and you can make a killing. But at the end of the day, you say to yourself, I know I got 30% of my $20,000. What is that? $6,000? Yeah. Sitting in the G fund. I can't lose. So I have at least 2 mortgages to pay if I get laid off. For me, that's what I did and when I was at USAA. And it feels good, man, just knowing at the end, I keep saying end. I'm trying to get away from saying at the end of the day. When all is said and done, I will have 30% in the G fund to cover my expenses if I got laid off. You always got to look at it like, what if I get laid off? All right. Sign up for Chris's newsletter. You will not be disappointed. I don't get paid nothing. There's no tip for tat or anything like that. Nothing like that. I think it's valuable advice. All right, we'll see you.